Alright, so on the family farm video that I posted up, I showed a picture of a trailer that I had in the back that I said there was a story to. Well, decided to do this webcam thing to kind of post the story because I've got another video I'm going to be posting up later as soon as I get it done. I actually did some damage to the trailer working with it this past weekend. I ripped off one of my homemade fenders, which is made out of, Andrew, you're going to love this, it's made out of old bed frame and angle iron and pieces of shelving and crap like that, but it got the trailer legal back when I built it. Anyway, the story behind the trailer is this. I used to have a four-wheel drive S10. Not just any S10. It was an S10 Blazer that I bought in New York City. Pretty much rust-free because it's been in the city its whole life. Bought it cheap. We went up there on vacation, drove it back. And through that, I met a guy who had another S10 that he was building. Matter of fact, they were the same color. His was a couple of years newer. But he and I became really good friends. And after he sold his and bought a Jeep, eventually I sold mine and bought a Jeep. And we built his Jeep, and we built my Jeep, and then I sold it and bought another Jeep. And we started working on that when the doctor told me no more off-road craziness because of my neck. And so sold the Jeep, bought my truck that I have now. So that's how I met him. The real story, though, isn't about him. Even though he's one of my best friends, and he and his wife really are important to my wife and I, even though we no longer live as close and we don't get to see each other as much. As a matter of fact, we haven't seen each other in over a year, and it's been bugging both of us, so we've been trying to get together to do some visiting. This story isn't about him. The story's about his dad. His name is Bob Hammer, Robert Hammer, and he came from Flatbush, New York. Ironically, not far from where that Blazer that I'd bought had lived most of its life. He joined the military out of high school, did a tour of the military, and then went to work for the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, which is the people that run the PXs for the military, and worked for them for 30-odd years before he retired. And it's just he's an old grumpy cuss, typical old man who has been around, seen it all, done it all. Pretty much like most everybody's dad. Only this guy, he would help anybody. When I was living out there in Grand Prairie, they lived in Midlothian, which isn't far from where my house was in South Grand Prairie. When we were building our Blazers, his son and I, we did it at his dad's shop. Well, come up, I needed a trailer, and he had this old trailer, and old man said, you know what, I ain't never going to use this trailer. I started to build this thing, gave up on it because it wasn't going to do what I needed to do, so here, you can have it. I said, okay. It was an old boat trailer that he'd turned into a farm trailer. It didn't have a floor in it. It had 4 tires on it, none of which were the same size. All the wheel bearings in the trailer were shot because it had been sitting for so long. It was basically junk, wasn't worth nothing. So I got it back to my house, and I replaced wheel bearings and rear axle, and the did lots of work on it. Bought new wheels for it because the old ones were shot. I had the front wheel bearings on the axles was some kind of funny axle where the inner surface of the wheel bearing is one size, the outer surface of it's got a really odd wheel bearing. And I replaced it that once, but they went out again because they're the only people that still make them in Japan, and they can't make them with crap, and I haven't been able to find them again. So that's why it doesn't have any front tires on it right now. Hello, Domino. You coming up here? Looks like I'm going to have a video visitor. Anyway, he gave me this trailer, and I put lights on it and made my custom fenders, which his son and Bob thought were hilarious, but they got it legal. I mean, I knew a DOT officer out there who said, yep, there's those fenders, so you're legal. And this was about the time when DOT, Texas Department of Transportation, was really cracking down on trailers that didn't have fenders. So it made it legal. I put in a halfway floor in it and everything else, and I've used it since then. We used it when we moved out here. I've used it for farm jobs and everything. So it's just a trailer. It's a junk farm trailer. The story really isn't about the trailer. It's about the man that gave it to me, and that's the reason why I won't ever get rid of it. He just treated me and my family with such respect for basically a stranger who was just a friend of his nutty child that he had. And I could sit here and go on all day about stories and everything. And when he passed away a couple of years ago from cancer, I attended it, went to his funeral, which meant a lot to his family because of the fact that I'd spent so much time out there over the years that I was living out there. His mom always cooked for me whenever I was out there, whether I was hungry or not. And it meant so much to them that I actually went out there to the funeral to pay my respect to someone I respected. That I've decided that I'm not going to sell the trailer. Tiger, hush, I'm making a video. I decided I would never sell it. And I'm going to keep that promise, and I've asked my kids to do the same thing. That trailer will always be in our family. Even when it's completely rusted away and no good, we'll still have it. Just as always to remind me that someone treated me with respect who didn't have to. Bob Hammer was a good guy. He was I hate to say this, but it's kind of true. He was better to me than my own father. And he didn't have to be. He had kids, he had a bunch of kids of his own. And he didn't have to be that good to us, but he was. So Bob Hammer, this video is for you, that trailer's for you. And whenever I get to welding on something and everything, and I start tinkering with something, I think about you. I think about you often. Somebody said as long as someone remembers you, you're never truly gone. So Bob, you'll never truly be gone because there's a lot of people that respected you and will remember you. And that's the story.